This is the newsroom for today, Friday, February 12, 2021. We're broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarzi TV in Partika. In the headlines, Budget 2021 is $383.1 billion, $200 billion for education, health, and infrastructure.
Budget 2021 is therefore presented under the theme, A Path to Recovery, Economic Dynamism, and Resilience.
A New Amsterdam woman is in police custody for stabbing her husband to death, while a 19-year-old girl has admitted to attempting to extort $10 million from her ex-boyfriend and framing him for rape. A Berbice taxi driver and a Georgetown businessman are remanded for cocaine trafficking. And in sport, Joshua De Silva dedicates test best to late Andrea Barrett, and Sir Curtly believes West Indies should push for victory in the second test against Bangladesh. With the news, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. Guyana's 2021 national budget was presented in the National Assembly on Friday to the tune of a whopping $383.1 billion, the largest budget yet. The government rolled out a fiscal plan allocating almost half of the budget to the education, health, and infrastructure sectors. Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh, in making his 5-hour-long presentation, said the budget is seen as a reversal to the hardships faced in 2020 as a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic and Guyana's domestic political situation. The economy is expected to grow by 20.9% in 2021. Kurt Campbell joins us now from the Artichon Conference Center, where the budget was presented during a sitting of the National Assembly.
In what is the largest budget in Guyana's history, Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh unveiled the government 2021 fiscal plan in the National Assembly. The budget was presented under the theme, A Path to Recovery, Economic Dynamism and Recovery. We've seen large sums going to major sectors as the government adapt to the sensitivity of the COVID-19 pandemic. Some $60 billion has gone to the education sector, while the health sector will receive $53 billion. Another $25 billion will go towards the upgrades and constructions of new roads and bridges in 2021. We've seen subventions going to the Guyana Power and Light and the Guyana Sugar Corporation in the sum of $2 billion each. Let's take a look at the Minister of Finance budget presentation.
In keeping with His Excellency's vision, Budget 2021 seeks to achieve the following objectives for all Guyanese. 1. Navigating COVID-19 for as long as it is around, keeping our population safe, containing further spread, treating those who are infected, providing vaccines as soon as they become available, and reopening the economy progressively and then fully when it is safe to do so. 2. Ensuring a diversified and resilient productive sector by facilitating large-scale private investment in both traditional and new and emerging sectors, creating 50,000 jobs in the next 5 years, and promoting entrepreneurship at the medium and small business level. 3. Initiating investment in catalytic and transformative infrastructure, including energy infrastructure, to ensure adequate supply at competitive cost, and transport infrastructure to improve international connectivity and unleash domestic production and productivity. 4. Establishing world-class social services such as education and healthcare, so that these services are available to the domestic population, but also with a view to entering the international market for providing these services to a regional and global clientele. 5. Improving the quality of public services and creating a conducive environment for doing business and interacting with government, including by deploying technology-based solutions, as well as reducing bureaucracy and red tape. And 6, ensuring respect for the Constitution and the rule of law, maintaining good governance, safeguarding access to justice, and the preservation of a safe and secure environment for all Guyanese and visitors to Guyana. With these objectives in mind, this budget ensures we recover as a country both from 2020 and from the last 5 years of trauma. It puts in place the policies needed to catalyze rapid economic growth in the near and medium term. And it lays the foundation needed to ensure that that growth is not transitory, but is sustainable for the longer term. Budget 2021 is therefore presented under the theme, A Path to Recovery, Economic Dynamism and Resilience.
Still ahead on the newsroom, a New Amsterdam woman is in police custody for stabbing her husband to death, while a 19-year-old girl has admitted to attempting to extort $10 million from her ex-boyfriend and framing him for rape. This is the newsroom. 2 more persons who tested positive for COVID-19 have died in Guyana, the Ministry of Health announced on Friday. The latest fatalities are 2 males, ages 84 and 59, from Region 4, Demerara, Mahaica. These persons died while receiving care at a medical facility on February 11. This takes the total number of deaths from the pandemic to 186 and the 9th for the month of February. It also represents 4 deaths within a 24-hour period. Meanwhile, Guyana on Friday recorded 46 new COVID-19 cases, of which 35 were recorded in Region 4. The new cases were recorded from 503 tests, taking the overall number of known cases to 8,181. The other cases were recorded in Region 10 with 2 new cases. Regions 2, 6 and 8 each recorded 1 new case, while Regions 3 and 7 recorded 3 new cases each. To date, 7,281 persons have recovered. There are 666 patients in home isolation, 41 patients are in institutional isolation, and 7 patients are in the COVID-19 intensive care unit at the Infectious Disease Hospital. Now, 45-year-old Anthony Giddings, known as Big Head of 14 Pitt Street, New Amsterdam, Berbice, was stabbed to death in the wee hours of Friday, reportedly by his reputed wife. The wife has since been arrested and claims that she was defending herself. Isabel Patwa reports.
A 43-year-old New Amsterdam woman was arrested on Friday after she reportedly stabbed her husband to death during an argument. Anita INHUMANE and her husband, 45-year-old Anthony Giddings, shared a 4-year relationship and they lived together. Police headquarters reported at about 1:30 hours on Friday, the couple got into an argument after Giddings asked INHUMANE for a lighter to smoke and she replied that she did not have any. INHUMANE told the police that Giddings became annoyed and an argument ensued, during which he pulled out a knife from his waist and threatened to stab her 10 times. Being fearful for her life, the woman said she ran onto the road and a physical altercation ensued. During the fight, the woman grabbed the knife from Giddings and stabbed him 2 times to his left side chest. The woman then left Giddings bleeding and went straight to Central Police Station to make a report. The injured man was rushed to the New Amsterdam Hospital, where he died while receiving medical treatment. Ranks took INHUMANE back to the scene on Friday. INHUMANE told police that Giddings would frequently physically abuse her when he consumes alcohol and even broke her arm once. However, Giddings' father further told the newsroom that the couple would normally abuse each other.
Both of them always fighting all over the place. And the people said, yes, last night they up on the road, one with a knife, one with a whooping.
Meanwhile, neighbors said 3 years ago, INHUMANE reportedly set fire to their Pitt Street, New Amsterdam house, and since then the couple has been living in an abandoned building on the same street. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isabel Patwa.
Now, a 19-year-old Providence, East Bank, Demerara woman appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court on Friday, charged with attempting to extort $10 million from her boyfriend and attempting to frame him of rape. Princess Williams appeared before Magistrate Leron Daly, where she pleaded guilty to the charge, which stated that between January 4 and 7, 2021 in Georgetown, with intent to extort $10 million from Kenrick Thomas, she threatened to accuse him of attempting to rape her. Magistrate Daly remanded Williams to prison and ordered that a probation report is prepared before sentencing. The matter is adjourned to March 1, 2021. Reports indicate that the two were in a relationship for 4 months. It is alleged that after their relationship ended, Williams sent Thomas an audio message via social media and accused him of attempting to rape her. She reportedly told him to pay her $10 million, and if not, she will provide the police with evidence. Thomas, however, made a report to the police instead, and Williams was arrested. Now, police in Suriname have arrested 3 persons in connection with the number 63 beach backtrack mishap, which left 2 persons dead and 1 still missing. A taxi driver and 2 fishermen were arrested pending an investigation into the incident. Isanella Patwa reports.
In a release on Friday, the Dutch police stated that a taxi driver and 2 fishermen were arrested in relation to the number 63 beach backtrack route tragedy. Those arrested were identified as a 57-year-old taxi driver called Bim and the 2 fishermen, a 51-year-old better known as Reku and a 55-year-old known as Tijing Bai. The 3 persons were arrested on February 10th. The release stated that the police in the West Region Research Division were notified by the Guyanese authorities on February 8th that a boat had sailed from Suriname to Guyana and that 3 people were missing. As such, members of the research team immediately launched an investigation which found that a fishing boat with presumably 2 women and a man had sailed from a fishing center in the Naikeri district towards Guyana. Meanwhile, the search continues for 48-year-old Sharida Hussein of Pilot Street, New Amsterdam. Her son, Joshua Samaru, revealed that the police had recovered some of her documents, including her medical, passport, ID card, along with her traveling bag and a personal handbag on the number 74 shore in East Berbice, Corentyne on Wednesday last. Samaru and others had been searching for his mother for the past 3 days on both land and sea in various areas with the hope of finding her, but to no avail. On Friday before sunrise, the young Samaru, his friends and relatives made another trip along the Corentyne coast where they have been combing the shores along number 50 to number 78 village. They will continue to search throughout the day and are being assisted by local authorities and the Suriname authorities. The bodies of 77-year-old Baboni Harihar of Palmyra village and 30-year-old Alwyn Joseph were recovered earlier in the week. The trio was on their way back to Guyana from Suriname via the backtrack route in a speedboat when they informed relatives that they were dropped off in waist-deep water on the sandbank in the dark on Tuesday night. Guyana's borders with Suriname have been closed since March 2020 in an effort to curb the spread of the deadly coronavirus. As a result, many persons have been using the backtrack route to conduct business. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isanella Patwa.
Now, a sergeant of the Guyana Police Force who is in charge of the Blairmont Police Station reportedly shot his reputed wife and the mother of his children, who is also a special constable. The suspect has been identified as Colin White, while the victim is Shawnetta James. Police headquarters in a statement revealed that a woman was shot to the neck and is in a stable condition at the New Amsterdam hospital. The suspect was arrested and police said he has since denied the allegation. According to reports, on Thursday at around 20 hours 30, the sergeant went to his wife's house on the Neming, west coast of Berbice, where she told him that the relationship was over due to continuous misunderstandings. An argument ensued during which the sergeant allegedly pulled out a handgun and shot the woman. Police said he took her to the Fort Wellington Hospital and left her there. According to the police report, the woman was subsequently transferred to the New Amsterdam Hospital, where she underwent surgery. Newsroom understands that the couple shared a 4-year relationship and have 2 children together. Police said evidence was collected from the scene as investigation continues. And a taxi driver and a businessman were on Friday remanded to prison by City Magistrate Leron Daly in connection with the discovery of 504 grams, which amounts to 1 pound of cocaine, in the trunk of a car on Wednesday. 47-year-old Cardell Moore, a taxi driver who plies the Georgetown Berbice route and resides at Glasgow Housing Scheme, New Amsterdam, along with Ulrich Jordan, a businessman of Camp Street, Georgetown, were jointly charged with trafficking narcotics. The men denied that on February 10, 2021, at Commerce Street, Georgetown, they had 504 grams of cocaine in their possession for the purpose of trafficking. The case is adjourned to March 5, 2021. Jordan was also charged for having a bag containing a digital scale with traces of cocaine at his Camp Street house. He denied this charge. He was represented by attorney at law Adrian Thompson, while Moore was represented by attorney Patrice Henry. Newsroom had reported that Moore was intercepted on Wednesday at a Berbice car park at Commerce Street in Georgetown. He was the sole occupant of the car at the time, and a search of the vehicle unearthed the cocaine in a panel of the trunk. Jordan was subsequently arrested in front of his house. A bag containing a digital tabletop scale with traces of suspected cocaine was found inside the home. Both men were also found with a quantity of cash in their possession. This is the Newsroom. The Ministry of Health on Friday launched the final round of the National Lymphatic Filariasis Elimination Campaign. While Guyana continues to be one of 4 remaining countries in the Americas to eliminate filariasis, it has made significant strides to eliminate the disease with the launch of the Triple Drug Therapy Initiative in 2019. Isnel Patwa tells us more.
The National Lymphatic Filariasis Elimination Campaign launch was held at the HEARTLESS in Georgetown, where Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony said more than 90% of the population is at risk of contracting lymphatic filariasis. Lymphatic filariasis is a vector-borne disease caused by parasitic worms spread by mosquitoes. The health minister explained that the long struggle with the disease dates back as far as the 18th century.
The exercise that we are starting today in many ways can be a very historic one, because if we are successful, and I believe that we are going to be successful, because once we are able to do this, that what have eluded generations of physicians and health workers in this country, that this generation of health workers would be able to accomplish it. And we only have one more lap to go.
For this year, the Mass Drug Administration campaign is expected to take 2 weeks in every region, with the distribution beginning first in regions 3 and 4. The health minister said that the entire exercise should be completed by April. Transportation will also be provided for pill distributors, and this will result in a wider geographical coverage.
But even if we prevent a lot of people from getting this infection, there are still people today who would have been affected by filaria and would have been suffering from the disease. And for those persons, we want to ensure that we help them to manage their disease and also to prevent them from getting disability.
The Triple Drug Therapy Initiative shortens the number of years required to take filarial pills and refers to the use of 3 antifilarial drugs. When taken, the drugs will kill or permanently sterilize adult intestinal worms and also tackle scabies and hair lice. Before the drugs are administered, persons' measurements are taken and they are given the drugs according to their height. It must be noted that pregnant women, persons who are 90 cm and 15 kg body weight, will not be given the drugs. With the exception of regions 8 and 9, all other regions are endemic for filariasis. Citizens are being urged to take the drugs and render support to pill distributors. If 70% of persons take the pills, then Guyana can eliminate filaria. The launch on Friday was also attended by Chief Medical Officer Dr. Narain Singh and Member of Parliament for the APNU AFC Coalition, Kemraj Ramjitan. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isanela Pato.
As promised in the governing People's Progressive Party Civics Manifesto, President Irfan Ali on Thursday recommitted to the reinstituting of an expanded low-carbon development strategy. The strategy, as it is now, will be broadened to include wider environmental services, water resources management, climate resilience, biodiversity, renewable energy, and the marine economy, the President said in his inaugural address to Parliament. Kurt Campbell reports.
The Expanded Low Carbon Development Strategy, LCDS, which President Irfan Ali says will be resuscitated soon, will see the establishment of an international center of excellence for biological diversity with objective of promoting cutting-edge research and developing and exporting educational services. The President believes that the strategy, which was formulated by the then PPP government prior to 2015 and later took a backseat during the presidency of David Granger, will allow Guyana to earn substantial revenue that can be utilized to diversify the economy and create employment opportunities, as was done previously under the Norway Agreement.
In this agreement, we can earn hundreds of millions of US dollars, as we have established in our earlier arrangement with the Norwegians. From this agreement, we seek to ensure the creation of new clean jobs. We also intend for the benefits from the payment of ecosystem services to flow to all Guyanese, especially our indigenous communities, where forest prior informed consent principles and the opt-in mechanism should strictly be observed.
The national strategy will also seek to strengthen the institutional mandate of the Environmental Protection Agency (EPA) by providing an empowering regulatory framework to guide economic growth initiatives. This also means that the national system of protected areas will also be strengthened and expanded in accordance with international standards of environmental integrity. According to the President, the expanded LCDS will provide opportunities to all Guyanese by creating avenues that will provide grants for startup businesses of a renewable energy nature. Beyond the management of the country's natural resources, the expanded LCDS will also ensure the issuance of land management and access to land is also addressed.
This will be done by the establishment of a formal interagency mechanism with intention to coordinate among key sectors to address various land use conflicts in Guyana via the implementation of the land use policy. The implementation of this policy is also expected to be implemented with a regional dimension that will ensure to incorporate the interests of both residential and commercial users.
As the head of state and his government envision, the expanded LCDS will guide the country's developmental trajectory along an inclusive, low-carbon, sustainable, clean, resilient path with increased economic opportunities and investments linked to greater social and infrastructural development for the benefit of all. For the Newsroom, Kurt Campbell.
The Prime Minister, Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, recently commenced the distribution of cash grants to several villages in Region 7. A few of these villages that so far benefited from the grant are Mbaimbadai, Parwaima, and Philippi. The distributed grants are separate from the $25,000 per household cash grant. Danica Paul reports.
Development must be even. We must have projects and programs for the people right across Guyana. And no community must be shortchanged.
That is Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips speaking with residents of the Mbaimbadai during the distribution of the COVID-19 cash grants. The Prime Minister reminded residents that a total of $1.73 billion will be utilized for the development of projects in 200 hinterland communities throughout Guyana.
You as a community, led by your Tushao and your village council, will take the money and decide what are the projects you will spend the money on for your community. We expect that the village council will have a meeting. Everything will be above board, transparent. You will have estimates done, and whatever decision you make, you capture it in your minutes, in the notes of the proceedings of the meetings, and you will communicate it to the people.
In addition to the cash grants, the Prime Minister revealed that $17.4 million is earmarked to improve internet connectivity in some 200 communities across the country. The Prime Minister had previously stated that information and communication technologies enable remote villages access to work and school for citizens, noting that it also forced the country to break through barriers that have previously prevented the delivery of more government services online. The Prime Minister assured residents that there are other programs that will be funded by the government to ensure their communities are fully developed. The government in December last year received parliamentary approval for a supplementary budget of over $18 billion, which included $2.5 billion being used to pay out the COVID-19 relief grants of $25,000 for each household. The initial budgeted sum for the COVID-19 relief grants was some $4.5 billion. With the new approval, the government would be paying out a total of $7 billion to families, but this amount will only be enough to wrap up Phase 1 of the exercise. Some 16,375 persons who have been issued pink slips for one reason or another will be captured in Phase 2 of this exercise. Reporting for the Newsroom, I am Danica Paul.
When the Newsroom returns, the financial, weather and bridge reports along with sport. Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We're starting off with some cricket news. Kieran Powell and Ross Powell put on a huge opening partnership, but Guyana Jaguars fought back brilliantly to restrict the Leeward Islands Hurricanes in match 5 of the CG Insurance Super 50 Cup on Friday. The Powells added 152 for the first wicket, with Kieran hitting 94 and Ross 61, but none of the other batsmen got past Devon Thomas's 24 thereafter, as Hurricanes were limited to 244 for 9. The left-arm spinner Gudakesh Moti removed the top 4 batsmen to finish with 4 for 45, while Niall Smith had 3 for 47 and Romario Shepherd 2 for 50. Guyana Jaguars will need 245 to record their second win from as many games this season. Meanwhile, the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force skipper Kieran Pollard said he's pleased with the side's opening win in the Super 50 over Jamaica Scorpions on Thursday. Brandon King's 97 led the Scorpions to 258 for 6 before Evan Lewis cracked 100 to seal a 5-wicket win with 55 balls remaining. Here's what Pollard had to say after the contest.
Obviously, guys have been here, a long time, in quarantine, in lockdown, getting a couple of sessions. Half of the team joining, 3 or 4 days ago. So again, it's good to get a run out on the park and again to have a good sort of convincing victory. It was pleasing to see.
How well were your bowlers today to restrict them for under 260?
I think they were brilliant. We started off pretty well as a unit. We sort of just slacked off for a couple overs, getting a bit impatient. And we realized, we just need to stick to our disciplines. When we changed that, we went for about 10 overs without conceding a boundary. And when you put that pressure on your position, they're going to come hard at us. So, well done, to the bowlers, Anderson, Philippine. I think he picked up the bowler with 3 wickets. It's good for him, getting some wickets. The experience, ever experienced at Ravi Rampol. Again, showing his experience in the back end. And our 2 spinners, Hussain and Narayan, restricting the opposition. So, well done to them. But, I think I'm more pleasing, with the batting that we displayed. This was fantastic, taking the attack, to the opposition. And again, as I said, we are having a convincing victory. I'd like to lose only a couple of wickets. So, again, there's always room for improvement in that aspect.
Now, West Indies ended day 2 of the second and final test against Bangladesh in a commanding position in Dhaka. After expanding their overnight 223 for 5 to 409, West Indies reduced the host to 105 for 4 by stumps, with Shannon Gabriel picking up 2 wickets and Alzari Joseph and Rakeem Cornwall adding 1 each. Early in the day, Nkrumah Bono, who resumed in 7 to 4, fell for 90, but Joshua De Silva and Joseph added 118 for the 7th wicket to deny the Tigers. De Silva missed out on a maiden 100, scoring 92, while Joseph also notched up a career best of 82. Abu Jayad and Taijul Islam picked up 4 wickets each for Bangladesh. Meanwhile, De Silva, who dedicated his knock to the late Andrea Barrett, who was abducted and murdered in her native Trinidad and Tobago, reflected on the day's play during an interview with CWI Media, Dario Bartley.
Josh, congratulations on a good innings today.
Thank you.
How disappointed were you to miss out on the century?
Can't even describe how it feels or what it means just to be 8 runs short. I wish I could have back that ball every time. The second time I got out that way, so hopefully the next time I wouldn't let it out me.
How did you manage to adjust so well to the subcontinent conditions?
No, I've always been a good player of spin, so just adapting my game, lower wickets, so that's majority of what I had to adapt to. So similar to home, but not as similar, so it's a different circumstances and situations, so just did my part.
What's your mantra for playing against spin?
Pick the line and length as early as possible. We're doing a lot of work with Monty, our batting coach. Just working on moving forward and back positively and making that decision early.
What were you thinking when Alzari came out to join you in the middle?
Full confidence in Alzari in any time. More confidence when he's batting against pace, but he showed that he can do it against spin as well.
And how good do you think the position is that the West Indies are in this match?
We're in a top position, but we can't take it for granted. We need to push on and get the rest of these wickets for the first innings, and then hopefully get all the wickets to win this test match.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
And the former West Indies fast bowler and coach Sir Curtly Ambrose says the Caribbean side should push for a win in the second test, given the solid platform they have built after 2 days. He spoke to Philip Spooner of CWI Media on Friday.
Speaking to the great man, Sir Curtly Ambrose, who is very, very impressed with what he's seen in Bangladesh. Sir, a victory in the first test, amazing performance, and now a real fight by this young team in the second. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing.
Certainly, like most West Indians, I'm extremely happy for the guys. One, not too many cricket lovers gave them any chance of beating Bangladesh. and to have won that game in that fashion, to me was so refreshing. I'm so excited for the guys, and most people talk about second string team. I don't like those words, because these guys are the next in line of what we had. So therefore, I'm so happy that they've done well and show all the negative ones who think they can't do it, that they can do it at this level. So 1-0 up into the second one. We're doing extremely well. I'm so happy for them. 400 plus in the first innings. So contributions all around. And I hope they can go on to win the second test.
You worked with Nkumabona before, you know his skills. You worked with Kyle Mears, you know his ability. You've worked with almost all these players, so I'm sure, you know, I mean, there's Zari Joseph from Antigua, who's been very impressive. Joshua De Silva to keep. I'm sure you're enjoying these individual performances as well as a team performance.
Certainly. Most of these guys are still young, and they've got an opportunity to impress, and they certainly did that. Now, it's going to make selection extremely difficult come the next series, because in my opinion, some of these guys must play. So the guys that didn't go Bangladesh, some of them are going to miss out. But the main fact and the great thing about it is that West Indies cricket looks good for the future, because most of these guys are still early 20s.
Okay, and the first test been a bit on that. I mean, it was a bit of a miracle for many people. Sensational in every way. You know, how do you rate it in terms of history?
I mean, it's right up there. We got to admit that. Some people may say, you know, it's only Bangladesh. I'm not for that. Bangladesh is a quality team, especially in their own backyard. And to have traced 395 on the last day. And Kyle Mears, what a brilliant in his 200 plus, not out. Come on, what can we say? It was an exceptional performance by him and the whole team. We got to give the team credit as well.
And this match now, should they push for a win, or would you take a draw?
No, we got to go and push for a win. We're going to score more than 400. Bangladesh are just 100 and something for 4. We should push for a win, bowl them out cheaply, and if we can enforce a follow-on, or bat and get some quick ones, bat them out of the game, and look for a win. If it doesn't happen, well, it's okay. We're still 1-0 up, so we got to push for a win first, and if it doesn't work, we're okay.
Still in cricket, 3 Guyanese are among 19 West Indians who have been drafted in the Indian Premier League auction list for the 2021 tournament. All-rounder Skimo Paul, Shafin Rutherford and Romario Shepherd and 16 other Caribbean players will hope to get the franchise's nod when the auction is held in Chennai. The auction that should be is held in Chennai on February 18. The other West Indians are Evan Lewis, Sheldon Cottrell, Darren Bravo, Rovman Powell, O'Shane Thomas, Fabian Allen, Shamar Holder, Alzari Joseph, Obed McCoy, John Ross Jagisar, Fidel Edwards, Jaden Seals, Carlos Braffett, Shannon Gabriel, Kyle Mears and Akil Hussain. 8 West Indians have been retained from the last season, namely Dwayne Bravo of Chennai Super Kings, Shimron Hetmeyer of Delhi Capitals, Chris Gale and Nicholas Pooran of Kings 11 Punjab, Andre Russell and Sunil Narain of Kolkata Knight Riders, Kieran Pollard of Mumbai Indians, and Jason Holder of Sunrisers Hyderabad. Finally, running Brave athletics coach Julian Edmonds is optimistic about some solid performances from his athletes at the Athletics Association of Guyana Development Meet on Sunday. Akim Green reports.
Despite the long layoff due to the pandemic, some athletes kept training, which puts them in great shape to perform at a high level come Sunday at the National Track and Field facility at Leonora. Edmonds says he looks to compare the performance of athletes they had last year at the same time to assess their progress.
A meet that they would have had in February last year. You know, as compared to what they do with February this year, to see basically, you know, if there's improvement. Athletics is about progression, and you would want to see progression. Although, take for example, athletes that are coached by me, although we had a pandemic, I mean, I still we did the 10 trials in November, we did the 10 trials in December, 10 trials in January. You know, just to try and keep the athletes sharp. So, take for example, if the athletes are basically hungry and eager and ready to go.
Edmonds, who coaches some of the country's bright prospects for the upcoming Crafton Championship, said he feels some might make the qualifying standard this weekend.
The majority, they're ready and willing to go, even for the athletes that have been preparing for Carista. They're ready and willing to go, and we should see a few of them achieving the COREFTA qualifying standard at this meet.
The AG had said they were weighing options on the format of the first developmental meet, and the coach clarified for Newsroom Sport the format it will take.
We're going to have different categories. Now, we're going to have a 16 to open category. 16 to open category that will have the conventional events, 1, 2, 4, 8, 15, 3,000 and the jumps and so forth, right? You have that. Then you have a 17 to 19 category where they're going to be at distances. Also the 14 to 16 and the 10 to 13, they're going to do the odd distances. What we reckon as a group is that there's been an Olympic year and we're now basically opening our season. You want to give the athletes who are vying for places to qualify for the Olympics, you want to give them the best opportunity. So that's why, you choose to especially for the Olympics is from 16 to whatsoever. That's why there's a category specifically for those athletes. And they will do the conventional events.
Sunday's event is not open to members of the public. For the Newsroom, Akim Green.
And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, Newsroom.gy, our Facebook page, and Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Abhinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. Have a great weekend. See you back here on Monday.